Hi, people. It's me. We are doing this today in beautiful Mount Olive Cemetery. A lot of history in this cemetery, especially around my family's plot, but we're not there at that today. Family plot has people that's pretty much died in every war in it. But real reasoning for it today is happy 4th, by the way, and I'll wish that again at the end of this. But main reason is one of the Confederate monuments was vandalized, which apparently I missed it because it looks like they fixed it. But you see right there, I believe that's the monument that was. But if you go all along here, it's all, this whole stretch is all the way down there. It's Civil War graves, Confederate and Union alike, all buried here. You can see one gravestone's knocked down, which is totally disgraceful. And it had to be a real ass goblin to do that. I mean, a real ass goblin to sit there and desecrate a grave in a graveyard. I'll give my feelings about that in a minute. Since we're in Civil War area, oh, by the way, see my beautiful car there. Figured take the Trans Am for a ride through the graveyard. Firebird, sorry. But let me give you a little history lesson about the Civil War since we're here. Everybody is so saying Confederate monuments, Confederate graves is white supremacists. I'm probably going to get in trouble. I'm probably going to get a lot of people hating me on this. The Civil War originally was not fought over. The whole reason the Civil War was fought was not originally over slavery. Slavery was a secondary issue. So it was a secondary issue. The real reason why the Civil War was fought was for state rights. Slavery just happened to be a secondary issue. And really, when the slavery became a secondary issue, the Union Army said, we'll free you, but you got to fight for us, because they were getting hard up on manpower. So that's how slaves started earning their freedom in the North, by fighting for the North. Now, let's jump up. Now we'll jump ahead. Fact, everybody's so upset about General Lee and the General Lee. Did you all know the Northern generals had a great respect for Lee? Lee didn't want to fight in the war. Only reason why Lee got in the war is because he felt that he had to defend his homeland of Virginia, his family, and his land. He was a great strategist. Union generals actually had a high respect for him. Grant went to West Point with him. Matter of fact, the North was getting their asses whooped for the first 2 years of the war by the South. The South was outmanned, outgunned, and they were still holding their own. The battle that caused the South to lose the war was when the North sacked Petersburg, because all the railways for the South went through Petersburg. When Petersburg fell, so did the Southern Army, because they lost supplies, they lost food, And that's basically start losing, period. Now, before I go over anything else a little bit, the Democratic Party at that time, they wanted to end the war before Lincoln did. But the Democratic Party wanted to end the war, let everybody keep their slaves. So, if no one's went through history yet, you'll see that the Democratic Party has never helped the minorities. Right now, the Democratic Party is just putting a face on for a political show. Of all politics. Vote Biden in, minority, you're going to suffer. Now, let's head to a little bit more history real quick. Everybody thinks Lincoln took and ended the war. Lincoln really didn't. Ulysses S. Grant took and brought the terms of surrender and negotiated them with General Lee. Because once again, Grant had a great respect for Robert Lee. He negotiated the terms of surrenderment, and he actually gave more to the Confederate soldiers than what Abraham Lincoln wanted him to give. Grant said, soldiers can go back home, keep your land, keep your guns. Lee agreed to it. He had no choice. So, and then Grant ran for president as a Republican. And he kept fighting for minorities' rights through his whole presidency. And this goes the same all throughout history. Now, I find destroying graves, monuments, like I said, I think this one's been freshly cleaned up, so I didn't get to see the damage, is a disgrace. Because these men in these graves fighting here all the way down this stretch, they're all soldiers. Matter of fact, some of them were even in the Union Army before the war started, including General Lee. So, these statues, monuments, some people say it's white supremacy. No. They were originally put up because these men were soldiers. They were veterans. Essentially, in my mind, for a war that should have never happened. But we were a young nation. If you're going to call this stuff white supremacist, racist, then you may as well call statues of Lincoln, Washington, all our founding fathers. You may as well call that white supremacist. You may as well just say this nation was built on it, if you feel that way. But the desecration of monuments and all that needs to stop. I say don't remove them. I say don't remove them. But maybe add some monuments for the, people that fought for equal rights. Build a monument for Harriet Tubman. Maybe put one up for Frederick Douglass. Even though you go to Harper's Ferry, you get a hell of an education on them. Stuff like that. But don't get rid of existing monuments for men who fought a war. May have been not for the 100% causes that we agree with. But like I said, once again, those men, they're veterans too. And I come from a military family, so I look at it from a military standpoint. Now, when you watch this video, I want you all to keep this big long stretch of graves in your mind. Now, I believe in spirits, I believe in ghosts. I've watched enough ghost shows to know desecrations of graves pisses dead people off. So to those ass goblins that want to come in here, knock down graves, desecrate statues in a graveyard, I hope to hell your asses get haunted terribly. I mean, terribly. I hope they get haunted by them ghosts of these dead soldiers. Because you all are nothing but a bunch of ass goblins. And face it, defacing monuments, destroying them, I bet you all are not realizing that the cause you're fighting for, it's doing nothing but damaging your cause. So, I hope everybody takes my little history lesson to heart and keeps everything in mind what I said. Now, events going on. There is a car show August 30th. Happy birthday, Kristen. And my lovely wife is out swimming, probably gonna come home looking like a lobster today. So when she watches this, I hope she knows I love her. And once again, happy 4th of July. Anybody playing with fireworks, don't be doing too, well, if you're drinking too much, don't play with them, but I'll be drinking and playing with them. So hopefully the next day you have all your digits. Let me know if you do or don't. And by the way, John Snyder, I watch his stuff. He's been asked if he's a Confederate. Hey, dumbasses. The Confederacy died in 1865 or 1866. The Confederacy's been dead since then. See? So every time you call somebody Confederate, every time you call somebody a Confederate, yeah, you're stupid because it's dead. I'm probably going to be called a Confederate after this. It's fine. So, I don't have the Pinhead Award with me, but the Pinhead Award will be rewarded to all the ass goblins that wants to deface and destroy monuments and to desecrate graves. That's who the Pinhead Award goes to. I hope y'all are proud. Ass goblins. So, in review, gave a history lesson today. Republicans are nicer to the minority race than the Democrats. And the Union generals had great respect for General Lee as a general. And the only reason why the North let their slaves free was to fight the war. A war that should have never even happened. But something tells me, and I have a feeling, we're going to have another civil war. So, I'm going to let you all go with a happy 4th of July. Be safe, be careful. And I'm going to take a quick minute before I go to scan the actual beauty and peacefulness of this place. I haven't been here for a couple years. It's take a moment of silence and I'll scan. All right, everybody. Peace out. Be safe. Happy 4th. If you don't hear from me next week, that means, or in a couple weeks, either or, means I might have been kicked off this damn channel. Who cares? Because I'm going to be happy. And please, you ass goblins, stop desecrating graves and monuments. Peace.